demos, and harvest.
Yes. Should
Is
I?
there anything new with harvest?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that we just got a feedback from our co-organizers that they contacted the Update conference, which is a big .NET conference happening in Prague in November, that they would be open to possible cooperations. I didn't say that. It's bigger, but I didn't say that it's better.
It just means that we have to pay 2 entry fees now.
You don't have to do the workshop. You can just pay $5.20. Only if you hurry up, because and you have to pay VAT after that. Okay.
So Victoria, I have a question. When is your plan? Is it before the update conference or after the update conference, the org chart harvest?
Oh, we don't know yet, and so now they are also investigating options like having a different stage during the conference, or collaborating as we are having it, for example, just before the update conference, because it will be really nice to have a lot of people who could be interested in orchard harvest as well to be in the same city, so we can invite more people. So that would be the goal.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much.
I didn't get it. Did you say before, after, or during?
Yeah, I said that we don't know yet.
Okay, all options are open.
Yeah. I think
But
the best, if we can't do it the same time together with them, as I saw it on the picture, that, and you mentioned that it's more expensive than the harvest last year. I think maybe the best would be to have it before the conference, before the update conference. So if they arrive 1 or 2 days earlier, they can join us as well, but nothing set yet. So we are working on it.
I can organize a conference with 1 ticket, with the price of 1 ticket. Okay, did you follow up with the email I sent you?
Not yet. I was waiting for to know about the update conference, but I'm writing to them now to ask them about the possibilities.
I won't blame you, because when you ask me to follow up on emails, it takes me 2 months, so don't worry.
Yeah, I'm quicker than that. Okay.
So wait
Cool.
month and a half before you send back.
It's 2, yes, I agree. And do that. But it might be a free room, who knows?
Yes. That would be also a really great option if
I don't know, but
Yeah. I will write to them. I just opened the email before the meeting.
okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Demos? Maybe there is a demo. Okay. Status. That Orchard, nothing, Orchard Core, Orchard Core, Orchard Core, Orchard Core, which was 318. This one, during the meeting, we got 2 Renovate updates. Then we have update dependency Fluid.Core to 221.0, 23rd. 221.0. I know I shipped it, but I know I shipped it twice. Good one and a bad one. Well, a good one and a better one. 21. Oh, that's the latest. Beautiful. Renovate. Good job, because I shipped like the same day or 24 hours, the 3 things. What's new there? There is some new stuff there. First, before we were on 19, it had to be, unless I missed. No. Oh yeah, it updated to 19 like last week, but it was an old one. Interesting. So 221. We have the 220 that contain many changes. Stick, string value, create and code. Doesn't matter, just what we are building coding, but we don't use that. Renaming, refactoring, Nope, yeah, obsolete. Related to that one. Refactoring. Just new method, new render async and new render methods to take a string writer. This is a big change that will impact people, and this is a change that could impact people. So this one, here, this is explained here because first time I think I explained what to do when we switch liquid versions, and Renovate doesn't know about it, so we need to react to that. First, liquid tag is not parsed by default anymore, meaning if you were using it in Orchard and we don't react in Orchard, then your templates won't work. This liquid tag is a weird tag. It's a tag. It's a tag. 1 second. I will show you the tag. It's a tag that is called liquid. And in this tag, we can inject liquid like a for tag, like for I in 110. Then you can do, how do you render the variable I? Then you say echo, which is a tag in liquid. And then you say and for. And then you close your liquid tag. Okay? So you will write that instead of writing that, and that. Okay? That's exactly the same thing, but you can even say, I believe you can do something like that. Echo I. Something like that. Okay? It's equivalent. But so this is the liquid tag where you can write inline liquid. So that's very uncommon, very specific, but that's part of the liquid spec, and Fluid supports that. But it made Fluid much slower at parsing because it has to find tags like this, which are the standard way, or how to end a tag like this. But it said, oh, but if you are in a liquid tag, then you can find all the tags not with the tag token here, but if it's a new line, that it can start a tag, and if it's a new line, it can end a tag. So it's very complex to parse, and it's working, but it makes parsing much slower, like 60% slower, 70% slower, so it's bad. So I decided to disable it by default. But there is an option. So if you go in the parse options, the same way you can allow functions in liquid, which we enabled, we can allow the liquid tag, and then everything will work the same as before. It will be slower to parse, but it will handle that. I will not suggest to do that. I don't think we should be able to write these things. It's not simpler. It's just, I don't even think it's more. I like this thing. So whatever, it's there. Questions about that? Comments? No? Everyone's happy? Who writes liquid tag like this with a liquid tag? Nobody knew, I'm sure, about this syntax. Cool. I don't see the comments. Maybe there is some comments. No, there is no comment. Second thing that is changing, the member name strategy. So you know that when we have a class like person, which has a string, first name, okay, you can do like whatever model, like person dot first name, okay? That's the standard casing, but we can change it in the options. I probably also in Orchard, people can do that by themselves, but you could say, I want snake case, first name. Okay, there is snake casing, there is camel case, there is kebab case, there is all these casing that are supported. So snake case, for instance, is one. So there is some code in Fluid to do the conversion to snake case for all the properties. And this was custom handcrafted code, but JSON, system text JSON, has the same logic, because when you want to serialize JSON, they allow you to change to use snake case or camel case or whatever, right? When we serialize JSON. So they have a method which is actually public to do that thing. And they do it better than what we do in Fluid, and they do it faster. Not much faster, because it's almost the same code, but it's faster and it's better. So for instance, when we wrote test, there is a property like this that is used in the test. And in the previous code, Fluid will say UV index for the snake case. But with the JSON code, it's doing UV index, which seems better. Okay, it's kind of, I would say a bug or not, but this is a change. Like the code that was used in Fluid before was rendering snake casing like this, just the first letter to lower, the second one will get uppercase. But now the JSON system text JSON code is actually doing this way. So it's faster and apparently better. So this is a new default, but so it's not breaking change. There is an app context switch. It's not an option, it's an app context switch, because it's a behavioral change. This is an option to support or not something. This is the way something will be done. So if you set this app context switch to true, then it will go back to the old code that is slower, slightly. At least on the net 6 at 7, 8, it will be a little slower. Much slower before. But yeah, you can have this old code. And the way it works is in the app, you have many ways to set the switch, like that thing. This is a framework, so probably nobody. In the app settings, like this, and in the runtime config also, runtime.config, I believe. No, there is a runtime file in there. No, that's there is a JSON file, so that can contain that. But yeah, there are ways to do that in SPF4. So this is just saying that there are some breaking changes, but there are ways to not break things. Okay. But it's faster because now you can parse faster, because we remove that by default. And then the latest release is that so Marco told me that there was an issue with the way I was referencing system text JSON. This is part of the runtime starting net 6, so we don't have to do a reference on it. It wasn't referencing it in net standard 2.0, but this change here, apparently I referenced it in all the TFMs, and I referenced the 9th version. which is not good. We should reference the version that matches the TFM for system clock even at least. So I fixed it. So you should use 221 and not 220, which is done there. Beautiful. Sense? No questions? No comments? Corrects add condition for user moderation and email confirmation upon registration. Ooh, that's a fancy PR title. Is the change fancy? Oh, I saw George was complaining, was reacting to the change that was done to fix.
Yeah,
user
you mentioned an
moderation.
error last week, and
Yeah,
I corrected the fix.
yeah, because my comment was, that's weird that we check the option, but not the value that the option provides. So we found more issues than that.
Yeah, the issue was on a different part.
I see. So it's better now?
It's correct now.
Thank you. That's why you should join all the meetings or watch them. Cool. Assets manager doc. So more docs. So the asset manager, what's new here? Just one line. Okay, just explaining root of your module. For example, blah, blah, blah. This file should contain, okay, typos. I see. Typos and clients. So maybe not clients instead. It's okay. And more things here. Thank you, Antoine. Fix content type, edit and delete. String submit, no more string submit. Edit. Combine request submit save, no more string submit. Where is that under now? Bind prefix submit save. Interesting. So if we have nothing to do this one, edit type, edit post, post, same page. Okay, there is submit save and continue. If it's continue, we say stay on the same page. If we stay on the same page, we'll return to this page or we list. Okay. And this one now says type submit the same way. But the name is submit save, and before it was the value. Name, submit, save, and continue. And before it was the value. Submit, save, and continue. I see. So we have two buttons. They have a name. And by using the bind, we tell which button. So the bind prefix will look for the name of the button instead of checking if there is a form value in the form. So this way we say when this post was triggered by this button named submit save or submit save whatever is a prefix. And then we checked which one was called. That's interesting. Bind prefix. Interesting. That's good. Ensure content type restrictions are enforced for drag and drop in widgets. We mentioned that recently, just to ensure that we can't drag and drop any widgets between zones, the same restrictions that we apply when we create the widgets. So some JavaScript validation. That's great. In all the editors. So part, back part, content count. Cool, nice. Missile. 8 dependencies, more dependencies, only fluid file, update identity packages. Okay, minor version, add multivalue where conditions and IDs in GraphQL 6 multivalue filters. This is a method that we were using. And make a generic type out of graph type, a list graph type. So what was it doing before? Add filter fields. Maybe this one is not the best then. Filters, multi-value filters.
That error was introduced while upgrading to GraphQL 8. And the other change, it was missing the ID graph type, which is a regression in version 2. There are 2 fixes here.
Okay. I understand the question. And then this type is correctly built with a list graph type.
Right.
I want to see if there is an example of a query that would not work before and that is working now.
It's a screenshot, if I remember correctly.
Thank you. That will be the best. One 184 content item ID, content item ID. I'm not seeing the difference. Start from the.
Oh, it's just the in and not in filters. The second screenshot is content item version is different. You should have cut the picture to just include content item ID.
Okay. Thanks. Beautiful. Was a lot of changes. Oh, that was the conversion to GraphQL 8. So look at that. This PR had a test. But this one, so sad. So we don't break it again. We shall move the indexes to their proper object. Okay, make a new class. This one, what is it about? I think the correct namespace, but this one moved from the module to the core component. I should, if we need it for another module, probably. That's the result. Cool. Questions, comments, everything so far. Issues and PRs, what's up?
You know, there's one PR that I think we kind of need to make a quick decision on behavior. That PR number, if I can find it, right here. So PR number 17610. So what this PR, so what I approved it, okay, because I made some changes to it and I'm happy with it. So what now we have a new option to both flow part settings, and page part setting, or bag part settings that allow you to say whether you want the items, the contained items, to be collapsed by default or not. Okay, so current behavior in Orchard, the bag part contained items by default, they are collapsed. In the flow part, currently they are expanded by default. So that's the current behavior, which it's consistent to me. So what I thought we would do here is that we can make it consistent moving forward with an option to prevent breaking existing tenants. So if you already have a tenant that's running, that behavior is not going to change. However, if you're setting up a new tenant, we want to start at a consistent run. So by default, what I did is I kept both expanded by default with new tenants. And obviously you still have the option to change it, but by default, they are expanded. So I'm wondering your thoughts on keeping it expanded like that or not.
First, the way you explained to me, I understand that there is something in the migration that will do it, but there is a way to do it without migration.
True, by setting the default option, but I don't want to do that. That's why I did the migration.
Default option? What option? No, not setting, because if you set, it's not set like the new and the old, because it's a new thing by setting, by having a nullable here. By having a nullable, then we can check, if it's set, we use it. If it's not set, we define the default. That was the way instead of using migration. That's just one method. Now, open, closed, collapsed, expanded, one or the other. I don't know. I don't remember how it looks like, what matters. I probably decided because I think I made these two modules, but I don't think, it's preferences. Even if we were doing a breaking change, I would say, like, people can still breaking. Even if you overrided the defaults from what they have today, they could still change it. If we can not lose their settings, what we force them to use so far, then that's fine. So I agree with you trying to keep the current value. But if you did all this code to just keep the true value, I would just use the nullable, because that is riskier than just a nullable. Oh, you have to load everything. Yeah. That's hard. This is ballsy. That's risky.
All it is that we're just saying, look for any existing attached bag part and set the settings. That's it.
You understand my suggestion otherwise?
Yeah, I do. I
Okay.
do.
That will be much simpler
Because
because
by default, it'll be no.
And
Yeah,
then in the driver, when you read the property, you say, easy if it's that, exclamation point, true. For instance, if you want true to be the
yeah,
default.
but then we would have to code two different values, one false by default and one true by default.
Right?
Everywhere we consume it.
And
Because
if you want,
because the backpart settings by default we would treat it as true, and the flow part by default would treat it as false. So we would have to make, and that's why I want to do it this way, because I want to keep the code consistent.
we could have a constant saying in the same thing that the default collapse. Who cares? Honestly, just to save a true and a false, you have to create a migration. That's kind of, I wouldn't. But you in this code, take the risk.
Or we can just delete the migration and tell everyone, hey, if you want to change your behavior, then
remember last time you wrote a migration, not because you wrote it, but because it was a migration and bad things can happen. You know, remember all the people that we broke and we tried to help on a Friday, like with the JSON migrations.
With the security settings, yeah.
The types also, I think the tags didn't, the roles that were lost, because what can go wrong? Oh boy, we didn't think about it. I remember. I mean, you did the change and you spend the time to fix it for customer, right? We talked to them, we had them on Discord and whatever. I don't remember exactly, but I remember we spent the Friday on that. That's why I'm saying, yeah, I'm sure your code is right until, oh crap, we didn't think about that case. We are breaking something or whatever. It's just, that's why I don't like migrations. And here you have to load all the types. What if they have so many types that?
Yeah, those are cached, but I mean, we make that call in many places anyway.
Okay.
It's cached, and I mean, I'm not worried about that load, but I mean, it's a migration.
Sometimes
sure.
It's okay to not be that nice, like force new values defaults, and if they can change it, like we force them a new admin menu on them. So we can say that both of them are false by default. I think that would be fine if you say so. Like if you want to keep the same value, I'm fine to say they are all open, they are all closed. But now you have to decide what you want. Okay.
Okay, so you rather have that than a migration? Because I can just delete the migration and
if you agree and people agree with that, it's fine to just tell them now they are open, and if you don't like it, go to the settings and check the box. Yeah.
Anybody have any objections? Anybody that doesn't understand what's happening?
And honestly, it's minor, right? It's cool to be able to configure, which is this feature. The fact that we set a new default that we didn't have, I think that's okay.
The other option is to
options.
To put the settings, put a default value in the settings directly and keep it consistent.
But who cares? That's too much. That's too much. And you have a change log, you can mention that, like now in blah, 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 everything is collapsed or expanded. If you don't like it, then go to the settings and click the checkbox. Boom. If you are not happy, come to the meetings and tell what you think about it.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
I mean, it's a 3.0 anyway, so.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, it's totally fine. Cool. I will give you my approval so that you know what you need to do if you want to do it. So what's new there? Let's look at the people who are here. George is doing stuff, fixes email confirmation from user.
Yeah, that's not done.
Okay.
You can skip that.
No, I won't look at it. Kevin has a new OpenID 7.0 that is coming. Significant changes. Oh, trimming and native loyalty, which we are not compatible with, so we don't care. No, we can't. Yes, because all the dependencies are not. But Kevin is improving his library. We are using his library, so it's good to test it. SDK, this one is kind of interesting because I like the subject to explain how it works, and that's not. So today, we have a global JSON. This global JSON will ensure that anyone who downloads Orchard source code and tries to build, MS Build will know that to build this repository, we need at least 90201 or any other version, including any major version. Meaning, if you have .NET 10, whatever, it will say, yes, I can build with it, and it will try to build it. If you have .NET 9.0.101, the SDK, and you say, no, you can't build Orchard, you need 9.0.201. Okay, that's what this file says. Okay. Now, this was printed from 100 to 201 by Renovate automatically. I believe. Why does it say PW here? So I will change them. Commit. That's cool. So that was updated by Renovate. But technically, we don't need to say version because Orchard was working fine, is working fine, can build fine with 1.0.0. So there was no reason to say we need a better version. What it says is, what it forces you is to install the latest SDK. Usually there are security fixes with this new SDK. In this case, we can say, yes, we always want the latest SDK because there are security fixes. But if it's just for features, then no, we don't need to. We don't need to force you to use a new version because there is no new feature that we use. So it's fine if you have the 100. There is no reason to force you to install an update, which can be a churn. So just saying what it does, okay? And so now Renovate says you need to upgrade to 202, which means everyone will have to install the .NET SDK 202 once they download Orchard. So now we could say, what's new in 202? Antoine, if you know the answer, you can tell us.
I don't know if you've seen, I commented on that.
Oh,
I'm like, we shouldn't really be forcing that. I don't know. There's no reason.
I didn't see your comment. You said the same things. Perfect. Yeah, so exactly what you say, which is if you don't touch that and they have 202 or 10 or whatever, it will still work. There is nothing to do, but we don't force them to update every time there is a new SDK update.
So if you agree, just close that PR.
And this is the global region, meaning it's a new SDK, but the runtime is the same. So yeah, we don't change the packages. They don't. Okay, so let's see, for instance, maybe there is a security thing here, right? There is a new runtime with the SDK. Probably it will come after that. Or maybe we should update the SDK and the runtime versions at the same time. So wait for Renovate to update everything. Maybe that's what he does. So maybe we have to wait, and then because upgrading the packages, this could be interesting for security reasons because there are always like some security patches there. or bugs that we need, because the minor, they don't ship a new service release if there is nothing, you see, security that you want to take. So that's better. In this case, that's good to upgrade to 903 our packages. Okay. Like this one. And then at the same time, we can say, let's update the SDK because it ships with the correct thing. So you will have the good runtime. That's also why I would like to see this PR here. You see, why don't we just make one PR with the updates? Well, yeah, I think we mentioned that. Sometimes maybe one could break and not the other, so they are not blocking each other's. Yeah, maybe if we could have the rule updated for the global JSON to just say change the global JSON when there is a change at the same time as you change the runtimes. Do we have a PR for that? Yep. Because if there is a 903, Antoine, do you know if we updated to 903 already?
Yeah, we did.
So they shipped 903, and after they shipped SDK. So in this case, we don't need to update the SDK. So probably there's 903 was shipped 11, and then they shipped in SDK the week after. Interesting. I don't know if they do that all the time. You see 900 shipped. Then 3 weeks after there was a this SDK 101. You see they shipped the 901, 902, 903, and then an SDK. No, this is okay. This is independent. When they ship a new runtime, they don't ship a new SDK. Because we can update the runtimes individually. We can just point to different package versions for the runtime and for the packaging. So we can install the runtime independently. So I don't know when it's decided to ship an SDK. Okay. Yeah, so we don't have to. What SDKs do I have? I have the tool one, so if we pulled it, I will not be able to build Orchard. And probably none of you will be able to, you would have to install the new SDK. Cool, just saying. So I won't do anything here. I will let other people chime in. Make solution build on .NET 10. And look at this one. Does this one change the global JSON? No, it doesn't, because the goal of this PR is not to force you to have the 10.0 whatever preview SDK to be able to build on 10, but it's just in case you have a 10.0 SDK and you want to build Orchard on the 10.0 runtime on SDK, then Orchard code will work with that. Right now it won't, because we have checks that check if we have the .NET 9 or the .NET 8, but we don't handle that when there is the .NET 10. Okay, so this code will say, like, we use the 903 package version if you have not .NET 8, meaning because we target 8 and 9, if you don't have 8, like if you have 9, we use 9, but it will also work with 10. So for 10, it will also use the latest package. Okay, that's the idea. So this change here, same thing here, saying if it's not 8, instead of it's 9, so we can say 9 and 10 are the same. It's removing a warning because on the .NET 10 SDK, there is a warning for the single file program CS, saying there is no comment. That's weird. But this is then in the .NET 10. So just relearn that we are using system.link.async, which is a package that creates async link operators like where await, because this thing returns an async enumerable, and then the where await will work on that. We'll do a where on this async enumerable and also take an async call there. But in .NET 10, they merged this package into the runtime. So we don't need where await anymore. It's called where. But there is still a weird thing I could not manage, so I rewrote the code to do a wait for each instead. But there are new extension methods in the runtime now, and support for async enumerable, the toList async. I'm not sure we have an example here, but there is a toList async that is part of the runtime. Here, this one. So it's not, before we were using it from the package, now in .NET 10 it's no more on the package. Yeah, so some changes there. And this code builds on .NET 9 and .NET. It's not safe. So this code here is code async enumerable instead of task of iList. Some manufacturing, so it builds on everywhere. And this code is there to say if we don't run on .NET 10 or after, then let's inject the package. So is target framework compatible? 10, I assume, means also any version after 10 will work. Okay, that's the goal of this thing. And so at the beginning, Isham pointed that I was using the .NET 8. And my idea was that because we only target 8 and 9, I can just say, if it's not 8, it will work with 9 and 10. Okay. When we change the TFMs, we will support 10 and remove enter 9. So we will just remove that thing. So I don't need to be clever and say the same thing as here, there, the other one. I just said .NET 8, not .NET 8. Risham was suggesting greater than, but this is a string comparison. Okay, so here that works. This is not the same, but greater than won't work. I tried it because I'm like, maybe it will work, maybe it won't work. So I tried to do in C# an array of all the strings that we will have. And if you sort them, the result is 10, 7, 8, 9. So you see, if you have the same number of digits, that works because it's an ordinal comparison. It's not a number comparison. It looks at the first N, okay, E, okay, T, okay. 1 versus 7, while 7, the char is above the char 1, so this one is greater. Okay, so no, 10, you can't, I don't think you can do that. Otherwise, everyone would do that. What I say is that, yes, maybe this thing will work, but I didn't want to be too terse here, and I kept it this way. So I don't know. We can change it to that if you really want, or just keep it, just keep my current version, which will say. But this one, I don't think it will work. We will see that more often otherwise. By the way, let's see if we can find it. I didn't try that, but maybe some people do that. Interesting. But it's just in one doc. Yeah, there is one doc reference that gets such a syntax. So maybe the doc is wrong.
That's wrong.
I believe. Oh, look at that. In MS, so the doc is actually saying in MS Build, you can't easily do a comparison like that because that will be a string, exactly what I explained. Okay, but you need to do a comparison like this. So that's the thing I was saying. So here, version greater than or equal, it's valid. But I remember last time I tried to use that. Oh, I will tell you the difference. Version greater than or equal means it's really comparing versions 3.0. Okay, which is fine. But the logic I'm using here, I looked at the source code of that thing. Is target framework compatible? This thing is actually invoking NuGet APIs to check if the versions are compatible, like in terms of behavior, not just version value, but no, if you use .NET 10, this is equivalent as .NET 9 plus new stuff. Because maybe one day net10 will be breaking change, and this won't be compatible. So here, that's why this target framework compatible is means like, can I use the same features there? Yes, you can. All the features of net9 will be there in net10, something like that. So yeah, maybe I think that's what we should use, but definitely not that. So I will resolve because the suggestion is not valid, but it doesn't mean we should not change it to a different thing. Now we just proved it. Cool. And oh, why did I do that? Oh, same thing. In .NET 10, there is a new method called getTitService that we added in our own service provider extensions, but it's now there in .NET 10. So if it's in .NET 10, don't. If we are building for .NET 10, don't generate this method. And that's it. Something system link async. So when we ship Orchard with the .NET 10 support, we can remove this code because we won't need system link async anymore. Yeah, like around November for the harvest. Cool.
So is this PR ready?
I think so, unless you want to change the thing here to use. That's it. But to me, it works. It's building. It won't impact you. You don't have to install your SDK. Yeah, the goal is that people in the .NET team or others can test Orchard with the .NET 10. Because also, I mean, because they did that actually. When they shipped the first version of the .NET 10, there is a team of contractors from Microsoft who tried all the open source projects with the .NET 10, and they found out that Orchard was not building because of the service key, whatever, the new service, the key service feature. They filed an issue on Fluid.Core, and they wanted to block the shipping of .NET 10, and I said, no, it's something to fix in Orchard. It's not a breaking change in the framework.
Did you update the tests? Wondering if maybe we should update the test to let him also run on .NET 10.
Well, I didn't want to change the build scripts to do that, but I mentioned that here. Why did I mention it?
It's because if you have if we have the test enabled to run on .NET 10, well, we just get more testing done on the .NET 10.
That's what I meant here. Yeah, it's not about building it on .NET 10 for now, though we could eventually to continuously track the compatibility without failing the builds. So right now, yeah, so we could then in a different PR say, let's add a step to install and build Orchard with the .NET 10. But as a warning, so there is a property on the task, we can say continue if error on the step in the GitHub extension. Just that when we do a PR, we can see that now it's failing with the .NET 10, but we don't block because we just want to track the behavior with the .NET 10, but we won't block a PR for the .NET 10. Okay, that would be something to do. I don't want to do in this PR. I just wanted to unblock the people from .NET that will benchmark the .NET 10, and I've had 2 people already asking me because it's used in Visual Studio, in Widgets, in MS Build, in Azure. They measure some machine performance with Orchard to compare the machines. So that's why they want to see the .NET 10 supporting Orchard.
I should just merge it then.
Agreed.
Okay. So we can do follow-up PRs. It's broken. Someone broke it. Oh, why did it?
No, I just approved it, so it triggered the other testing.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, you can squash and merge though, but I would say let it finish test it. Running.
Yeah, I will let it finish and then we'll see you later. Okay. Can merge it one day. And that's time. Let's see if there is some more things from people that are here. News on this one. And the rest is older. Oh, this did you merge this one? So What's the last? I think someone commented on that. Mike commented. And I got thumbs up from Isham and Jasma. So we reviewed that last week and we said it looks good, it works, all the tests pass, it can't break anyone because it's a new API. So I'm like, let's merge it. And then we can try to implement the content type localization and if possible, a UI for that. And or at least unblock Isham so he can create a PR for some UI, or people create UI, and then we'll make it work. It should not break anything. So Mike says, keep it. Find the button. It's a button. Data localization. It's contributors. It's all Isham. Done. One less PR. Now we're at 14. All in one. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. See you on Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.